Hi, this is Mark Reiner from Silent Inflammation Lab. Today I read 3 peer-reviewed studies on 6 common foods and what they actually do for chronic inflammation after 60. Let me share what surprised me most. Right now, over 80 million Americans over the age of 60 are walking around with silent inflammation, quietly damaging their joints, their arteries, and even their brain, and almost none of them know it. The pills you bought at the pharmacy, the antioxidant supplements stacked on your kitchen counter. Research now suggests they may be doing far less than you think. But here's what nobody is telling you. 6 everyday foods, when used the right way, may calm hidden inflammation more powerfully than the most expensive supplements on the market. What I'm about to show you goes against everything mainstream nutrition has pushed for the last 20 years. Before we begin, this is not medical advice. I am sharing what peer-reviewed research suggests. Always speak with your doctor before changing your routine. With that said, let's look at the data. Researchers at Harvard, the University of Naples, and the University of Tokyo have published findings that may change how you think about your kitchen. I've ranked the top 6 anti-inflammatory foods from least to most effective, based on strength of evidence and measurable outcomes. We start with number 6. At number 6 is dark chocolate, and yes, the real stuff, with a cocoa content of 70% or higher. Dark chocolate is rich in compounds called flavonols, especially epicatechin. A 2016 systematic review and meta-analysis in the Journal of Nutrition pooled data from 19 randomized controlled trials with over 1,000 participants. Cocoa flavanol intake significantly reduced C-reactive protein, the most widely used marker of systemic inflammation, across the pooled data alongside improvements in triglycerides, HDL, and insulin sensitivity. The mechanism is interesting. Flavonols appear to help line the inner walls of blood vessels with nitric oxide, which research has associated with calmer immune signaling. But there is a catch. Most chocolate sold in the United States contains only 10 to 20% cocoa, drowned in sugar and saturated fat. Sugar itself fuels inflammation, so the rule is strict. 70% cocoa or higher, no milk chocolate, no candy bars, just 15 to 30 grams a day. Used this way, dark chocolate may earn its place in an anti-inflammatory routine, but it is far from the most powerful tool available. Score 6 out of 10. Number 5 on our list is green tea, specifically the kind brewed from whole leaves rather than from a tea bag of dust. The active compound here is called EGCG, short for epigallocatechin gallate. EGCG is one of the most studied catechins in nutritional science. A 2024 systematic review and meta-analysis in preventive nutrition and food science pooled data from 12 randomized controlled trials of patients with metabolic syndrome and related conditions. Green tea supplementation significantly lowered tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNF-alpha, another major inflammatory marker. The way EGCG works is unusual. Research suggests it helps quiet a cellular pathway called NF-kappa B, which is sometimes described as the master switch of inflammation. When this switch stays on for years, silently day and night, the slow damage we associate with aging accelerates. Now, 2 practical points. First, green tea must be brewed below 80 degrees Celsius to preserve EGCG. Boiling water destroys it. Second, drinking tea on an empty stomach may upset the gut for some people, so pair it with breakfast. Used consistently for 8 weeks or more, green tea has shown real, repeatable effects. Score 7 out of 10. Number 4 brings us to wild blueberries. Notice the word wild. This is not the same as the large cultivated blueberries sold in plastic boxes. Wild blueberries, often sold frozen, contain roughly twice the anthocyanin content. Anthocyanins are the deep purple and red pigments that act as powerful antioxidants in the human body. A 2023 double-blind randomized trial published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed 61 healthy adults aged 65 to 80 for 12 weeks. Daily wild blueberry powder, equivalent to about 1.5 cups of fresh berries, improved blood vessel function, measured as flow-mediated dilation, and lowered 24-hour systolic blood pressure. Memory recall tasks also improved measurably. Researchers proposed a connection between calmer vascular inflammation and clearer cognition, though more work is needed. The practical use is simple. Half a cup with breakfast yogurt, the other half blended into water with a teaspoon of olive oil for absorption. Frozen wild blueberries are nearly always cheaper than fresh and just as effective, sometimes more so. Used daily for 16 weeks, they may quietly shift the inflammatory background of the entire body. Score: 7.5 out of 10. At number 3, we have extra virgin olive oil, but only the real kind, cold pressed and labeled extra virgin. The active compound here is oleocanthal, a natural anti-inflammatory molecule whose mechanism is so similar to ibuprofen that researchers were initially stunned. A 2020 intervention study published in Metabolites followed 23 adults with metabolic syndrome over 2 months. Daily intake of high oleocanthal extra virgin olive oil reduced 4 major inflammatory cytokines: interleukin-6, interleukin-17, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and interleukin-1 beta, and raised the anti-inflammatory cytokine interleukin-10. The sample size was small, but the direction of effect was consistent. The catch is severe. Most olive oil sold in American supermarkets is heavily diluted, sometimes mixed with cheaper oils. Look for a harvest date on the bottle, a polyphenol count on the label, and a peppery, slightly bitter taste at the back of the throat. That bite is the oleocanthal at work. Use the oil raw, drizzled over food, never heated above 180 degrees Celsius, since high heat destroys the active molecules. 2 tablespoons a day, distributed across breakfast and lunch, may deliver more anti-inflammatory power than a full bottle of supplement capsules. Score: 8 out of 10. Number 2 is ginger, specifically fresh ginger root, sliced or grated, not powdered or sweetened. The active compound is called gingerol. Gingerol's anti-inflammatory action is broad and well documented. A 2015 meta-analysis published in Osteoarthritis and Cartilage pooled 5 randomized placebo-controlled trials with nearly 600 patients. Ginger significantly reduced osteoarthritis-related pain, particularly meaningful for adults over 60, where joint inflammation is a major source of daily discomfort. The effect size was moderate but statistically robust across studies, with overall improvements in physical function as well. The mechanism appears to involve the same NF-kappa B pathway mentioned earlier, plus an inhibitory effect on CX2, an enzyme involved in pain signaling. The practical use is easy. A 2-centimeter piece of fresh ginger sliced and steeped in hot water for 10 minutes with a splash of lemon becomes a daily anti-inflammatory tea, or grate the same amount into morning oatmeal. Avoid powdered ginger from a jar. Research suggests the fresh root carries far more active compounds. Score: 9 out of 10. And at number 1, the most evidence-backed anti-inflammatory food in modern nutritional science? Turmeric. The active compound is curcumin, which has been studied in over 12,000 peer-reviewed papers. A landmark 2023 grade-assessed meta-analysis published in the journal Cytokine pooled results from 66 randomized controlled trials. Curcumin and turmeric supplementation significantly reduced 3 major inflammatory markers across the pooled data: C-reactive protein, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and interleukin-6. Across the literature, curcumin shows the strongest and most consistent anti-inflammatory signal of the 6 foods we have reviewed. The combination with black pepper is essential. Piperine, the active compound in black pepper, increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Without it, most curcumin passes through the body unused. The practical use is precise. Half a teaspoon of high-quality turmeric powder, a quarter teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper, mixed into warm water or milk with a small amount of fat, coconut oil or olive oil, and consumed once a day. Some research suggests morning consumption may align better with cortisol cycles, though more work is needed. After 12 weeks, the difference is measurable in blood markers. Score: 9.5 out of 10. Let's recap. 6 foods, ranked by the strength of current research evidence. At 6, dark chocolate. At 5, green tea. At 4, wild blueberries. At 3, extra virgin olive oil. At 2, ginger. At 1, turmeric. Use together, even 3 or 4 of them, consistently for 90 days. They may shift the inflammatory background of your body more than the most expensive antioxidant pill on the shelf. So here is the challenge. For the next 30 days, choose 3 of these 6 foods and add them to your daily routine. Take a photo of yourself today. Take another in 30 days. Pay attention to how your joints feel in the morning. Pay attention to your energy after lunch. Pay attention to how clearly you think. The body is slow to repair, but it does repair when given the right tools. If this breakdown changed how you look at silent inflammation, consider subscribing. We are quietly building a library of research-driven explorations into how aging actually works inside the body and how the simplest daily choices may matter more than the most complicated supplements. The next chapter, coming soon, examines what really happens to mitochondrial energy after 60 and which everyday habits may quietly support it. If this changed how you see silent inflammation, consider subscribing. We're quietly building a library of research-driven explorations into how aging actually works inside the body